What's up everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about Studio One. So recently I realized that I've been using Studio One for just about a year now. About a year now. And it kind of got me reflecting, if you will, on just the whole switch and how Studio One has helped me and just how I feel about it a year later. Long story short, I still love Studio One. I absolutely love the program. I still have fun using it every single day, and that's what matters most to me. One, it does everything I need it to do, which is great, but I have fun using it, and it inspires me to write music and to create music and to learn and to be as good as I can, and that is what matters most to me. But today, I felt like it would be cool to do my top 5 favorite features of Studio One. So after a year of using Studio One, these are the 5 things that I think I love the most, that I enjoy the most, and that I think are some of my favorite parts about Studio One. Now, just for clarification, I'm on version 4 right now, but I believe all these things are available pretty much all across the board on Studio One, at least 3.5 and up. But yeah, just for clarification, I'm on version 4. Alright, number 1, first thing I love about Studio One is the UI, the user interface. Now, right off the bat, we all know Studio One looks great. I think it looks awesome. It's modern, it's fun, it's enjoyable to look at, which, I mean, it means nothing. It doesn't make you sound any better, but it just makes it more fun when the program looks cool. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the design of Studio One. Studio One has a really great user interface. So what I really love about it is all of the modules you can open and close when you're not using them, and the way they're formatted is just really good for making the most of the screen real estate that you have. For example, the mixer. The mixer at the bottom of the screen, when it's docked at least, is really well formatted. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but it shows you everything you need to know, and it gives you multiple options of how you can look at the mixer. You can do the narrow view where you just see the meters, you can do the tall view where you see the inserts and the sends all at once, or you can do the short view where you simply just double click and it opens up the inserts and the sends next to the channel. It gives you a lot of options of how you like to use the mixer. Me personally, I like to have the tall view where I can see the sends and the inserts right above the mixing channel, and especially since I'm on a 1440p display, I have plenty of resolution to do that with, so I can have the mixer open still and I can still see all of my tracks at once. Now, as you probably noticed, I have 2 displays behind me, and Studio One's user interface is so good actually. They make such good use of the screen real estate. I still find myself mixing on just one display usually. I know right here I have the mixer open, but usually that's not what I'm doing. I usually have the mixer docked at the bottom of the screen just because it works so well that way. You really don't need 2 displays to be productive with Studio One. I usually have the inspector always open on the left hand side and the browser open on the right, which brings me to my next thing that I love about Studio One. That is the drag and drop. So I gotta be honest, I kind of thought this was a gimmick when I first when I first switched to Studio One. I had started using it and I'm like, I'm never gonna use drag and drop. Like, I can just hit the little plus and search my plugin and call it a day. And then I tried drag and drop once and I was hooked. Like I said, my browser is always open on the right side, and whenever I need a plugin, I just drag it onto the channel. It's that easy. I have my favorites set up, and it's just much easier to look through that plugin menu where you can see the plugin thumbnail, and it's just so easy just to drag things over whenever you need them. And aside from just dragging an effect onto a plugin, there's also a lot of utility as well. Let's take creating an effect send for example. I want to create an effect send for a snare drum. Instead of creating a channel, putting the effect on it, then routing that send from the snare to that effects channel, all that stupid stuff that takes forever, in Studio One you simply take your effect, drag and drop it into the effects send area, it creates a new channel, routes that current channel to that effects send, and then you adjust the level from there. That's it, you are done. All in one simple drag and drop, and that has seriously revolutionized my mixing. It has sped up my mixing so much just because I don't have to mess with routing and things like that. I just drag and drop and I'm done and I move on with my life. And drag and drop is just fun. I don't know, there's something fun about dragging it and then dropping it and then boom, you're done. You made a thing happen. You just dragged and dropped. Yeah. And the third thing I love about Studio One is the bend tool. So the bend tool is basically Studio One's audio warping, stretching, type of tool type thing, and I use it all the time. It's really easy. Just simply click on the bend tool and select 2 points and start editing your audio, start stretching your audio. I find the bend tool really awesome for vocals. So let's say you're doing a double to a vocal take. You have an existing take and you're recording a double on top of it. The take might be awesome. You might get a great performance, but there's a couple syllables that are just a little out of place. That's where the bend tool comes in. You just take the bend tool and move them into place and align the audio and you're done. It's so easy and it takes really seconds to do. I haven't noticed any artifacts or weird noises when you use the bend tool. Now, of course, I should say, there is a point where you can go too far and you will start to hear it warping the audio in a not so pleasant way. But just be mindful of that and you won't have that issue. For little things like moving a syllable, or maybe you tracked a double on a guitar and one of the notes is maybe picked a little too late, just move it into place. For small movements like that, it's amazing and it works super well and it's super easy. Now, of course, I do have vocal line as well, and Studio One has ARA support, so I could just align the whole take, but maybe I don't want to do that. Everything is fine except for those two syllables, and that's when the bend tool really comes in handy. The fourth thing I love about Studio One is the ability to put plugins on the input. Now, I did a whole video about this just because I love this so much. So you can put plugins on the input so that you can record through the plugin technically. So if you want to record through a distressor emulation, you can throw that on the input and then set your controls and record through it just like you would analog hardware. Now, I'm not really using it in that way. I'm not tracking through plugins, but what I love so much about this is I can put a tuner on the input so that I can always tune my guitar at a moment's notice. That was a terrible snap. Oh my god, why can't I snap? Anyways, how I use it is that I'll put the tuner on the input and I'll leave the mixer open while I'm tracking. So basically I'll track exactly how you see it right here. I have the mixer on the other display and the tuner is always open so that in between takes, I don't have to open a plugin. I don't have to click on anything. I just look over and start tuning and you're good to go. This saves me so much time because when you're tracking guitar, you really have to be on top of your tuning, and the fact that I don't have to touch anything to tune my guitar saves me a ton of time. That's something really small, but it's made a huge impact on my workflow and my speed when recording. Now, the fifth thing that I love about Studio One is the mixer actually. Now, I guess you could kind of say this is like more user interface type thing, but I don't care. The mixer on Studio One is amazing. Now, we already talked about how well the mixer is formatted inside of Studio One, but there's a couple features about it that just work really well. First is the micro view of the plugin. So if you're using a stock Studio One plugin, if you just simply click on that plugin name, it'll show you a mini version of the plugin in your mixer channel to where you can actually use and make changes. So you can just have your plugins open all the time and then never have to actually physically open up the entire plugin to make changes. You can do everything from that mini view in the mixer. And especially when you have a high resolution display like mine, maybe 1440 or 4K, you can have all of your plugin micro views open at once so that you never have to open plugins. You just open up the mixer and you can start altering settings and EQ curves right there from the mixer. This is kind of similar to the Pro Channel workflow that I had in Cakewalk, so it's kind of familiar to me and it just works really well and it saves you a lot of time. Second great thing about the mixer is copying plugins. So I see this all the time in Pro Tools. Maybe you have a plugin chain of 4 plugins and you want to put that on 6 other channels. You have to drag each plugin one by one to each channel, and it is so hard for me to watch because in Studio One, it takes not even a fraction of a second to do this. Instead of dragging one by one, you just simply select all the tracks that you want to put the plugin on and then drag that plugin to just one of them and it copies it to all of them. Okay, so maybe it's not like a fraction of a second, it's like a second or two, but still much faster than how they are doing it on Pro Tools. Not only can you do that with a single plugin, but you can grab the entire plugin chain at once and copy that over to however many channels you want in one single drag and drop. It is so unbelievably easy. This is great for if you're mixing a vocal and maybe there's doubles panned left and right or something. You might want the same processing on the doubles, so simply select the doubles, drag and drop, and you're done. You don't have to go one by one and drag each plugin on its own. It's mainly the functionality of the mixer that I love. It just works with you and it allows you to be fast and do things on the fly and just mix without thinking about all the weird complicated stuff. So that's it, guys. That is 5 things I love about Studio One, and these things are really cool to me because every time I use this program, every time I do this stuff, I think to myself, wow, that is so cool. That is awesome. Even after a year using it, I still enjoy myself and I still have a ton of fun in Studio One, which, like I said in the beginning of the video, that matters a lot to me. I want to have fun while I'm recording and I want to enjoy myself, and when I'm using Studio One, I have fun. Now, I wanted to make this video just because realizing that I've been using Studio One for about a year now, it kind of gave me a chance to reflect on how it's worked for me and things I really like about it. And also because I still get a lot of questions and messages about people maybe still thinking about switching. Maybe they're coming from Cakewalk like I did, or they're coming from another DAW and they're still on the fence. So I thought it might be cool to give some people some food for thought on why I like Studio One, why I think it works so well, and why they might want to think about switching themselves. But now I want to hear from you guys. So for you Studio One users, what do you love about the program? What is some of the features that you use every day and think to yourself, wow, this is cool? What are the things that you really enjoy about Studio One? And I don't know, if you want to list all 5, give me your 5 top features in Studio One. I think this could be a fun conversation, and there's probably things that I still don't even know about, so maybe I could learn something new in the process. So leave a comment down below, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That was redundant. So yeah, go do that in the comments down below, because I haven't said that enough times. Anyways, do not forget to like and subscribe. There are new videos every single week, and you don't want to miss any content. Once again, especially the new song that is coming maybe next week, maybe not next week, probably next week, but maybe not next week. It's next week. Also, don't forget to hit the little bell on YouTube so you get notified when I post videos, so then you could watch the videos and hopefully enjoy the videos. And yeah, hit the little bell, ring the bell. It's cool. Anyways, I am rambling, so thank you guys so much for watching. My name is David, and I will see you next time. Oh, that still wasn't a good snap. Oh, I give up.